Hey guys, welcome to the review of the BougeRV 180 watt solar panel. I just want to give you a quick overview of how this video is laid out. It's mostly going to be me setting up the panel and running tests, and it's mostly going to be on the portable power station, the two different ones that I test it with. So I just want to tell you that it's all about performance in this video, but at the end I'll talk about the practicality and best uses, but I just want to show the actual performance of this throughout the video, so that'll be the majority of it. Alright, so here I am unboxing all this stuff, and the solar panel is huge, as you can see. This is the biggest solar panel I've ever owned in terms of just the vast size. It doesn't fold at all, and it's meant to obviously be mounted on top of a rooftop, either RV or actual home roof. So it took me a while to get it out, and finally I succeeded. And yeah, thing's pretty heavy. I don't know how much it weighs off the top of my head, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Alright, so here I have my EcoFlow River Max, and I'm going to charge it with the BougeRV panel. And you can see the angle is decent. The sun is obstructed quite a bit, so the sun is somewhere back here, pretty high up, but we have tree cover as well as clouds, so here and there it's going to poke through the clouds, but I just want to do a test, see how it works in these sort of conditions. So not much of any, there's zero direct sunlight, so I'm going to go ahead and use my connector, the MC4 to Anderson and then to the XT60, and then we're going to charge it up. So let's see how many watts we get. Alright, so at this point I thought that I had the right connector, and then you'll see in the video I dropped my hands because I realized that I thought I had the wrong connector that I just bought, and that I just wasted my time. So I'm looking at the different positive and negative, and I thought they had to line up, and right here you see that I just basically have like dead founded. I feel like an idiot, but in reality I could still connect them, which I will later. But I just thought it was hilarious how I just didn't know what I was doing. I never used these. Here's just a quick look at the BougeRV panel. 180 watts. You have the voltage here, open circuit 21.6, and then the current, short circuit current, was around 11 amps. So those are two important numbers to keep in mind. And my EcoFlow River that's underneath the solar panel at this moment is capable of that. I believe it has 12 amps max, and then the voltage is 25 volts. So I'm actually right within that range. It could take in up to 200 watts of power. So as far as that, I am good. But we're only getting 20 watts in that example. So to get better sun, there's my cat. This is like early in the morning. She's just chilling. So I got up early in the morning the next day and decided to film because we only got 20 watts on that last example, and it was a really poor example. So here I am setting it up and trying to figure it out, because this is the only area I'm getting sun. I'm not getting anything in my backyard yet because it's a little too early. And as you can see, I'm like setting the power station on the ledge, and it's very close to falling off. But you'll see in a little bit what we get in terms of wattage. The whole panel was able to capture the sunlight, so I'm going to bring the camera up in a second here, and as you can see, barely. You can see 91 watts there, and this I suck at filming with the sun in the way, and so 91 watts. And here he's just 92, so not the best, but not the worst. And there's a lot more testing to go here, so I'm just glad that I was able to get something decent in the early morning sun. And now here this is sort of like a B-roll footage, but I just decided to put in to show you my angle. The sun has risen even more, so I'd say this is maybe 7 a.m. But weather conditions, humid, really hot. It's starting to get sweaty here, and it's literally only like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So the sun isn't at its peak height, but we're getting full sun, and that's good to see. And you'll see how I connect it in my results in a sec. So I'm connecting the EcoFlow, and you can see we're starting to gain some power, and then it goes down and up for some reason. I don't get that, but now we're getting up to, I think, 104, and slowly increasing. And slowly increasing is going to be the theme of this solar test, because it slowly picks up as the sun continues to rise. But you'll see later on how much increase in power we'll get. So 104 is not a lot, not very efficient for a 180 watt panel, but as I continue to just test and see what's going on, it gets easier to increase the wattage. Now, if you can see the little blue circle on here showing the battery percentage is at 73, that's actually a very high percentage for charging, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that having the battery be at that higher level could reduce the full capabilities of wattage from that panel. So in this case, I don't know when this is going to happen. Maybe this is the next clip, but I discharge both my Jackery power station and this EcoFlow, so I could see if that would help increase the charge rate. So here we're going to transition into, I believe, the Jackery 1000. I'm just going to disconnect it here and then go ahead and install the Jackery. So here I'm just using the Anderson connector. There's no adapter for the XT60, so that may give us like a watt or two of extra power that was lost through that other connector. So the Jackery can take in up to 163 watts, but I don't know the volts or amperage limits. So you'll see that this is another theme here. We have 115, and I think the max that I have saw this entire video on the Jackery was 117 watts. For some reason, it keeps fluctuating between these numbers, and you could also see that the battery percentage on this is 83%, so it's pretty high battery. It's charged up a lot, and that could affect the input limits. So I just disconnected it, and now we're going to go ahead and try using the different connector with the EcoFlow. This is the one that came with it. Alright, now I'm using the other connector just to see if there's a power difference. It'll turn on in a second here. And so slowly, gradually picking up, it goes back down. I don't know why, but now we're going back up. So now we're hitting, I believe, a higher rate, but it's not that much higher than the other connector I was using. So 109 watts, 110, and it's just going to slowly pick up. This entire video, I had to shorten it, but it was a slow increase in power. So now here I have another setting. I just moved the panel around and adjusted it to the angle because the sun was rising actually pretty fast. So now I'm using the same connector, and I'm just going to see if my adjusted angle did anything. It's going to go up and probably back down again. There you go, and then we're going to go back up. Now let's see if we can beat that 109, 110, and we're continuing to increase here. So all I did was adjust the angle at this point, and I think I also moved the panel under a couple of branches that were pretty thick, and I did that so the grass, we had pretty tall grass, I didn't want that to interfere with the panel's output level, so I think that also came into effect here. So 113 watts. So we started at about 104 in this area, and now we're at 114, and then gradually picking up. So now we're going to go ahead and transition to the Jackery and see what we can get. And of course, as you can see, we're getting the same 117 maximum watts allowable in here. And this is starting to become a trend, and I'm starting to realize that there's something going on either with the Jackery's limits or with the battery being charged up to 85%. Maybe it's limiting the amount of input that it can take in. And so in the manual for the Jackery, it says the maximum amperage is around 9 amps. And this is actually just a little less than the maximum capabilities of the solar panel. So I'm guessing that the amperage was limited, and that's why I kept doing that 117 max. All right, so here I have two of my Elecanta 120 watt solar panels set up. So that's 240 watts rated. So I should be seeing a significant amount of power coming in. And now I'm going and connecting it to, it looks like, my Jackery first. This is really just to see if I get that same 117 watts, because I know these panels are capable of putting out more than what it's saying. And you'll see here that it starts climbing, and then it just goes down and up and down and up. So it looks like the MPPT is controlling that and not allowing it to get over a certain amperage, I believe. And that is pretty much all there is to that. So I just finished discharging the Jackery 1000 and the EcoFlow River Max, and they're both at about 53 for the Jackery, and I think the EcoFlow is at 59. Yeah. So I'm doing this to see if the battery status makes the solar panel, or makes the charge controller in the solar generator, allows it to accept more solar. So I guess we'll see how many watts we can get in, because they were both at 117 watts of input for some reason for both the those ones, the foldable ones, and the RV one, the BougeRV. So let's see. Alright, I'm going to start with the EcoFlow River Max. Got the adapter here. Let's go ahead and plug it in. There's a better angle. Let's see if we can get over. Oh yeah, wow, this is way better. 123 watts is significantly better than what we were previously getting. I think we were getting like 110 to 114 before. So yeah, I think running down the battery actually helped to increase the input wattage, or maybe the sun just got at a better angle or got brighter, because now it's higher in the sky. This is the setup. Alright, so now we're at 124. Now I'm going to just adjust the connectors and put in the ones that came with the EcoFlow, because there's it's a direct connection and there's no adapter like you see right here. Maybe that'll give a little more power. Right, here we go. So now I got the other connector in that came with the EcoFlow. Let's see if this one produces a better amount of power. Alright, so using the EcoFlow charger, we're starting to see an improvement. It's going to go down. Once it comes back up, it takes a while. So we're trying to beat 124 watts, which was the other adapter's, I guess, record, or the most I got. So we're at 123, and then eventually we'll get to the next number. So I just cut out of that because I adjusted the angle of the panel, I believe, just because the sun kept rising, and so it's going to go down, and then I just have to angle it again, and then it'll go back up in a second here. And so pretty much the result of this is that there's not that much of a difference between the adapters. It really just had more to do with the angle and what I was doing to the exact perpendicular setup of the panel, because you could see I'm adjusting it, and now it's going to hit 125 right here. And it did take a while, but it just improved by 1 watt over that last time. Now here we have the Jackery, and I'm just going to test it again with the lower battery. I think it's at 53% is what it'll show. I'm going to see if we can get more than that 117 area of wattage in, and you'll see it light up in a second. and we'll get the numbers and the reading here. So you'll see that we're at right here. We get to, just saw 119 for a second, but then it went back down to that range that we've been seeing. I mean, it's still within 2 watts of the range, that 117. So really, there's no difference here, even if the battery is lowered. It has to do with the allowable input. So here now I'm testing the EcoFlow River with a lowered battery, but I'm also using my 220 watt solar panels together. And I'm doing this test to see how much power that it can bring in. And it should be able to bring in more wattage into the EcoFlow than the BougeRV panel, because it's rated at 240 watts instead of the BougeRV's 180. So we should see an increase, and you'll see here how much is coming in. And so it's going to stop, I think, at 66, I think, because I didn't realize that I forgot the connector. One of the connectors fell out, so I'm just going to connect that and you'll see it bump up.
I should be pulling in a lot more than that.
Oh, one of them fell out. So here I'm just going to plug in the other connector, and you can see that now it's increasing and exceeding the limits that were previously held, and we're getting around 145 watts, and that makes sense to me. And now I can test it with the Jackery and see if the same thing occurs where there's an increase in power. This to me will tell me if there's a limit officially set on the Jackery, even though it's pretty obvious that there is one at this point.
Alright, now for the Jackery. I'm assuming it's going to be less since it has a lower input maximum. 163 watts is the maximum rated for this. So we'll see. Depends. Yeah, see, look at that. It's just keeping consistent. There's something with the voltage or amperage. It's not letting go over like 117. So that's weird. I don't know why that's going on, but you can see that the Explorer, or the other one, the EcoFlow, was able to take more. So, okay. Alright, I'm just testing again. But here we go. Alright, we'll get 1 additional watt. 0 clouds. 125. Okay. 126. There we go. All right, we got to 128. 128, not bad. All right, now I'm going to try coating it with some water. See how it does with some water. All right. Ooh, there we go. 131. Just did it again. Now let's see. 31 again. 32. And 133. Very nice.
Right, so that concludes the testing portion of this video. Now I'm just going to get into my article. This is the draft of it, but I wanted to share some points here as sort of a summing up my tests. So the tests were really good, and first I want to talk about some pros and cons before getting into that testing criteria. The first has to do with the cons, and it's heavy. It's 24 pounds, and since this is a solar panel that is, it's not portable, it's meant to go on a roof. You could probably tell by the size of this panel that it's really not that light. It's bulky as well. You can see it's long, 58 inches, and it might be hard to mount, especially on a vehicle. If you're mounting it horizontal on the top of a like caravan or something like that, it's a really long solar panel. So I would just make sure to double check, make sure that it actually is small enough so it can actually fit on top of it without leaning over the sides of the car. And then the pros here are pretty simple. High quality and durable materials. It has aluminum frame, and it's made pretty well. Even just for me using it, I could tell that it's really well put together. Overall, I just think it has really good materials. The junction box, I think, is rated for IP65, which is a pretty great rating for water resistance. And then I believe the actual top, the solar panel itself, is waterproof. I mean, that's with all solar panels that are meant for mounting on roofs. But we have a high power output. I'll get into that. And then relatively inexpensive. The one that I'm testing now is like $200, and for producing 180 watts, it's actually a pretty decent price, I would think, for something like a rooftop solar panel. So my results here, we have the maximum power output at 133 watts, and that is equivalent to about 74% efficiency. But there's one thing that I did not do, and that was stay out longer when the sun was going to be at peak power, which would have been at around 12 p.m. I finished my testing at around 9 a.m. and the output increased. I started at 6:45, and it continuously increased up to, I think it increased by 30 plus watts throughout the time I was testing until 9 a.m. So probably would have just kept going. And here, this is what I wanted to share with you. So this is my actual and estimated outputs. You can see actual is listed until after 9 a.m. And this is basically showing the peak sunlight would probably be at around 12 p.m. on that day I was testing. And I just estimated the rate at which I was increasing my actual amounts in testing, and then I just applied that to later on in the day and how it would be. Now I also paired this with humidity, so the humidity decreased a lot throughout the day where I live, and I didn't really factor that into this, but the humidity decreased a lot, so it might even be higher than my estimates. So 9 a.m., this was the actual that I got. Now 133 watts was the most I got, but that was with after spraying water on it, which is kind of cheating, because I mean, you're not going to do that all the time. It's just impractical if it's like sunny out. But 128 watts, so it's still over 70% efficient at this level, and that's pretty good. I'd say 80 watts or 80% of the actual amount it says is that's really good, and I think that's a great panel. But 128 watts is the most I got without any additional water or anything. 9:30 a.m. estimated would have been 133. 10 a.m. you could see it continues until it hits what I estimated to be a peak. 12 p.m. 158 watts, and that is equal to an 87.7% efficiency. And when I say 87.7, I just mean like the watts that estimated divided by the rating on the panel. I know a lot of solar panels have like 22% efficiency or something. I don't get that at all. But I'm just saying it produces a lot of power for what its rating is, and that's this. I will have to test this again, because if this were the case and it would get that high of efficiency, this would be the most efficient solar panel I own. Now I own a lot of portable solar panels, so this is the first like rigid one I've had, and maybe that factors in. However, it would be super efficient. Lastly here, I wanted to bring up the specifications again, and you could see these are all just the ratings from the actual manual and website. But the one thing, yeah, see here's solar cell efficiency. So I think this is for each cell. I don't understand that yet, quite yet. But the other thing here is the warranty. So there's a 25-year transferable power output warranty. I'd have to look into more details as to what that means in terms of how much power output over 25 years will it retain. And then 5-year material and workmanship warranty, which I think is a pretty good deal. And obviously these are important to look into, so you could understand, okay, if hail were to fall and crack the screen on the panel, does that apply underneath this warranty? I would recommend checking the the specifics of these warranties, just so you're covered. But I mean, this is a pretty long warranty for this panel, and yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. Overall, bringing it back to the main point of this entire review is that what I liked, what I didn't like, and what I get it. This is the first part of this answer, and I said that it performed well because it did, and if I stayed out longer, it would have been better. Made of high quality materials, I could just tell, and it says what it's made out of: aluminum frame, monocrystalline panel, all of that. And then the warranty period is nice. And so, yes, I would see myself using this year-round for recharging my portable power stations, or for charging whatever batteries that I decide to attach to it. But yes, I could easily see myself mounting this onto the roof of my home and just keeping it year-round. It's a really good panel, and it would be a nice added touch to my house. Next here we have the who it's best for, and I think that obviously it's meant for mounting. It has mounting holes. It also has draining holes. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's for draining water when it rains. However, I think it's great for rooftops on homes, sheds, RVs. You could get multiple of these if you want more power, but if you just want one to recharge a battery or something, you could do that too. And I personally think it's inexpensive for its power output and quality. $200 for that big of a solar panel that's rigid, I think is a pretty good deal. Now, I'm not super educated on the cost of rigid solar panels. I know that 100-watt monocrystalline ones can sometimes range from like 80 to 100. So I think this is actually a pretty fair price for it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I recommend checking out the BougeRV, their website, and I want to thank them for sending me this panel. Yeah, they have several solar panels and other products that you could check out on their website, which I'll link below. And you could check out this article pretty soon here after I release the video. I still have a lot to edit and add, so I do recommend checking this out once it is available. I'll also put that down below. But yeah, please like the video if you got something out of it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about this solar panel. I hope to have more of these being tested in the future for you guys. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.